You love them or you hate them, but they are a part of Diablo 4, and they are aspects. If you don't know what an aspect is, when you look over on your legendary weapons, that little star right there, you could call it an imprint, you can call it an aspect, but in its rawest form, they are aspects, and they are imbued, big complicated word, into your armor. But which ones are the best, and where do I get them? Well, I will do a little disclaimer. Most of these are just world drops, and they are not from the dungeons. If I'm being completely honest, all the dungeon drops are kind of shit, and some of them are good based on what you're doing, but most of the time you're going to get your best aspects from legendary armor that drops, and then you're going to extract them over by this lady over here, and you're going to get all of the perks, and they will be into your aspect category here. I just store them in my chest because I am OCD about it, and I want to know what I have. I guess the easiest way to do this is let's go over the dungeon specific ones, because I know not everybody knows about that. Now, if we go for the dungeon specific ones, I'm only going to go over the ones that I believe are the best. Not all of these are going to be Druid specific, but they all work with Druid very, very well, regardless of the build you are doing. The first one is the Stormshifter's aspect, which is from the Crusaders Cathedral in that K word place that I can't pronounce. But while Hurricane is active, you gain +2 ranks to your shape-shifting skills. Very good if you're going to be rocking the damage reduction Hurricane setup and using Pulverize or even Shred on Werewolf, because it's just a free bonus damage for using a skill that you were basically already using in the first place. You probably heard of this way too much, but the aspect of Rampaging Werebeast, which could be obtained from the Endless Gates over in Hawazar. English in this game, and yeah, I'm not even going to try anymore. You could see it on screen. Basically, the longer that Grizzly Rage is active, it gets an increase, by the way, but in addition to that, critical strikes while in Grizzly Rage increase your critical strike damage by 10% for the duration. So it goes 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. It just keeps stacking and stacking, and it's very linear and very good for your Pulverized Earthbear builds, and probably a must-have in my personal opinion. Another one is the Ballistic aspect from the Whispering Pines. This is going to give us +2 on all of our Earth skills when we gain Fortify, and if you get Pulverize and your Earth skills now count as your Bear skills, that is just +2 on your Pulverize for your Pulverize builds. And there's another aspect in the game which makes all your shapeshifting skills +2, and then that would also apply, and then you just go pretty hard with the Pulverize. I've seen people with 13 out of 5 Pulverizes and even higher, so you could definitely make the most out of that skill. We also have aspect of the Cyclonic Force, which is from the Collapse Vault. This will give us damage reduction as a physical form, also because it's already an elemental form, but it also goes to your nearby allies. So if you're playing with a group of friends and you want to keep people alive a little bit better, this is a great team player aspect. I wouldn't recommend this on your main set of gear though. I'll just put this on maybe a PvP and group PvE set of gear, like a pair of pants or whatever this actually slots into, and then just switch to it when you're doing said content, because in PvP I imagine this will be great for your whole squad to just be rocking. The aspect of the Expectant, which could be found from the Underroots, is also pretty damn good, because attacking enemies with your basic skill increases the next damage of your core skill by 30%. It's 5% per hit, 30%. Great, once again, for Pulverized builds, because you have to build up the Spirit anyway to get the Pulverize to actually work, and you have to wait for Pulverize to get the Overpower as well. It works in tandem with basically every possible Druid build where you have to build up Spirit, so this is a must-have in my opinion. The aspect of Might is a universal one that I think every class should be using, but this is from the Dark Ravine, and I do believe this is a best in slot just because you're getting a DR for just attacking things, and it just makes you a whole lot tankier. Even though it's 20%, it does stack with many other Druid things like Fortify and the DR from other skills. It just stacks and stacks, and it makes Druid a whole lot tankier than it's supposed to be. Druid is already a tanky character, but if you just make it more tanky, it makes the whole experience a whole lot more enjoyable. Night Howler's aspect, which is from the Forbidden City in Fractured Peaks, is also a must pick up for me, just because Blood Howl will have an increased critical strike chance for all your skills after you use it, and you're spamming Blood Howl when you do use Blood Howl, and it affects nearby companions and players for 3 seconds. So if you're running a companion build, or once again with your group and you're doing PvE content and you need to hit more crit chances and hit more crits, well, you have a rogue on your team that really needs to hit more crits, this Blood Howl is a great supportive skill and a definite must-have on any piece of gear that you want if you're going to be playing with friends. But even by yourself, you can make a great use out of this aspect. You already knew this aspect was going to be on here, and you get it from Belfry Zakura. Yeah, I think I'd pronounce that one right. Pulverize is now a Earth skill, and after casting Pulverize, Tectonic Spikes continue to deal damage over the course of 2 seconds. This is self-explanatory. Pulverize plus Earth skills equal boom boom big damage. Aspect of the Tempest is a slept on aspect aspect in my personal opinion, which could be obtained from the blind burrows. For every second Hurricane is active, the damage of it increases, and I do not believe this has a cap, and it's just forever growing. So if you have a long duration Hurricane, eventually your Hurricane will be hitting for 180, 190% more damage per tick, which is very, very useful. I do have to throw in Shepherd's aspect from the Blood-Soaked Crag, just because if you're running a companion build, your core skills will deal more damage for each active companion, and I've seen people with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 companions based on what you're doing with the Ravens and then bonus Ravens, the Werewolves plus the Wolf legendary armor. Very, very good if you're running the correct setup. I did mention Wind Shear in another video, but this has a lucky hit chance where Wind Shear has a 5% chance to fully restore your spirit. Not too bad if you're actually running Wind Shear, but I have not seen a single Druid build using it. If you're going to use it, definitely use aspect of the Calm Breeze, which can be obtained from the Grinning Labyrinth over in the Dry Steppes. Rapid aspect would apply to every single class, but I do have to throw it in here from the Buried Halls in Dry Steppes as well, or Dry Steppes, same shit. Your basic skills will gain attack speed, which is just a DPS increase with no trade-offs needed. We also have aspect of Retaliation, which could be obtained from the Seaside Descent, and this will give you a bonus damage for your core skills based on the amount of Fortify you have. And if you're running a bear build and your core skill is going to be your bear, you're going to do a lot more damage with this, and you're going to be fortified all the time, so you don't have to worry about the upkeep of this aspect either. And for the last one I'm going to go over on the Codex of Power is the aspect of Mending Stone, which is from the Sealed Archives, and this is a best in slot, and I think if you're running Bulwark Barrier, you need this. There's no if, and, ors, or buts about it. You need this in your build. It increases the Earth and Bulwark duration by 6 seconds, effectively making it a skill that's a 9-second barrier as opposed to the default 3-second barrier. And the second part doesn't really matter too much, but if you're using Pulverize as a Earth skill, doing damage while in that form will actually replenish the barrier so you can keep it up and active for the entire 9 seconds, regardless of the amount of damage that enemies are putting out towards you. Now for some off-the-book aspects that you can't get from dungeons and are just from legendary armor drops, the first one we gotta go over here is going to be this one right here, where casting a Storm skill grants Earth skills bonus critical hit damage, and casting a Earth skill increases our Storm skills critical strike chance. Very good, very versatile for whatever build you're actually going to be implemented in. And like I said, the aspects I'm going over now don't really have a dedicated drop source. Just look out for them when you're getting legendary armor. Don't just scrap your legendary armor when you get it. Take a look at the imprint. If it's bad, then you could scrap it, get rid of it. But look at these so you can go extract these aspects and put it on your armor later on. Now I did mention that previous Earth and Bulwark perk, but now we have another one where we can gain up to 25% bonus amount to our Earth and Bulwark for each enemy we crowd control, up to 100%. Now the 15 to 25% range doesn't matter too much, because if you're using any form of crowd control, you just have to do a minimum of about 5 enemies, and depending on the percentage you get to actually get this to proc, which isn't too bad whatsoever. For double the amount of Earth and Bulwark barrier is well worth the trade-off. Another key one is the Earth and Might key passives also apply to all of your Storm skills. If you don't know what Earth and Mights is, it is the bottom Earth key passive with the instant restoration of all your spirit, and for the next 5 seconds, every single attack is a critical strike. This counts towards all Storm skills, so for all the Storm Druids out there, you need to look out for this as much as possible, because it is easily best in slot when you're actually rocking a Storm build. We also have another aspect with the Trampled Earth, where your Trample now summons 6 landslide pillars of Earth during its duration, and Trample is now also a nature magic and Earth skill, so a bear skill now has the properties of all your nature magic benefits and all your Earth skill benefits. If you're running Trample with any sort of boost to Earth magic and nature magic, you are going to need this. Trample just becomes a beast of a skill with this, and I can't recommend this enough. This is probably the best Trample aspect in the entire game when done properly. Once again, I had to throw in some love for all my companion druids out there. You do want the aspect of the Wild Rage, where your companions will gain all the bonuses from the Bestial Rampage key passive. Once again, that passive is down here, and that means when you're a werewolf for 2.5 seconds, you gain 20% attack speed, or if you're a werebear for the same amount of time, you gain 20% increased damage. So all your pets will gain all those benefits, and you could just Blood Howl and then Pulverize and get 20% on both and free DPS for all of your pets. It is a little niche, but for all the pet druids out there, it is a direct damage increase by a pretty substantial amount. And once again, for the companion druids, all your wolves turn into werewolf companions, and they do more damage and spread rabies. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just a raw DPS increase. I don't have it on me at the moment, but I do want to throw in the fact that there is a aspect that allows you to have one more companion or one more wolf. It actually, they're two different ones, because there's one ancient, I do believe, that is specifically +1 to wolf, and then there's another one that's +1 companion. So you could have bonus companions based on what other build you're doing. So if you want to see that, put it on screen right now. I don't have it on me, but I know exactly what it is because I used to run it earlier on. Also very good for your companion druid. Another honorable mention I'll put on screen is aspect of the Umbral, where you gain 1 to 4 of your primary resource when you crowd control an enemy. So this is probably one of the best druid ones as well. I've yet to get it, but I do have to include it in here. I'm including the best skills, not the ones I've gotten. So if you're using Poison Creeper or a stun build with Pulverize, you could get a freaking crap ton of Spirit from just using these skills. And Spirit upkeep is one of the downfalls of Druid, so if you could indirectly counter this with a single aspect, definitely deserves to be one of the best aspects for the character. Another honorable mention is the Crash Stone aspect, where if a enemy is crowd controlled, your Earth skills deal more critical strike damage. Like I said before, if our Storm skills and our Earth skills are the same thing and we stun them a lot more and we get the guaranteed critical hits from Earth and Might already, because that is a key passive without any gear required, the critical hit damage is just really good because you don't have to think too much and it just happens on its own. Easily best in slot for any Earth Druid build out there. But that's really it, guys. Those have to be the best Druid aspects currently in the game based on what the current meta is. There's probably a few more that I will say are good. Just because I didn't mention a certain aspect in this video doesn't mean it's not great or not the best in the game. I just want to go over every single aspect in a 30-minute video, so I pointed out the most important aspects that every Druid player should be looking out for, regardless of the build you're actually going to rock in the near future, because I see so many Druids throw away these great aspects with great roles as well because they don't know, and hopefully this video gives you the information you need. Now, if you're curious what range yours rolled at and it doesn't pop up, as you can see here, that little parentheses by my imprint saying 30 to 45%, a lot of people are like, how do you get that? Well, all you have to do is click your escape button or go to this page on console, go to options, go over to gameplay and advanced tooltip compare and advanced tooltip information. Make sure these are actually checked with the white square, save changes, and all that stuff will pop up so you know when you get a piece of gear what that item's role actually is on the RNG scale. But that's really it, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video and found it helpful for your Druid journey. And I do want to make more Diablo 4 videos with the Druid, so if you guys want to support the channel, please hit that like button down below, as it really helps out and spreads my content more out to the Diablo 4 community. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss out on another video from me. And make sure you pet the doggy when you're here. And yeah, you guys have a terrific day. Stay safe, and I'll see you all later.